When two worlds collide, I'm so lost. I'm all alone in the dark. Since you said goodbye, so where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Things are not the same. So where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? 'Cause everything has changed. Everything has changed. Hold on.
Welcome to Eagle Vision for Friday, October the 11th, 2019. I'm Allie.
I'm Patrick.
And today's top story highlights National Anti-Bully Month.
The month of October is Anti-Bullying Month, and EVTV will feature several segments bringing awareness to the cause. Today we're going to look at social bullying.
October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and today we're going to look at social bullying. This is any bullying that is done with the intent to hurt somebody's reputation or social standing. Social bullying often happens between friends. It can happen in two ways, either by trying to exclude someone and make them feel unwanted, or by gaining someone's trust and then breaking it. Social bullying could include spreading a friend's secret all over the school to damage their reputation, or encouraging others to ignore, chastise, or threaten a friend. The movie Mean Girls from 2004 shows many examples of this kind of bullying. This type of bullying is most common among girls, but it can certainly happen with guys as well. In social bullying, the main weapons the bully uses are relationships.
Don't forget that Monday is Columbus Day. We will be out of school, but take a look at a little bit of history.
Christopher Columbus intended to chart a western sea route to China, India, and the fabled gold and spice islands of Asia. Instead, on October 12th, he landed in the Bahamas, becoming the first European to explore the Americas since the Vikings established colonies in Greenland and Newfoundland during the 10th century. Columbus Day is a U.S. holiday that commemorates the landing of Christopher Columbus in the Americas in 1492. The holiday was unofficially celebrated in a number of cities and states as early as the 18th century, but did not become a federal holiday until 1937. For many, the holiday is a way of both honoring Columbus's achievements and celebrating Italian-American heritage. The first Columbus Day celebration took place in 1792 when New York's Columbian Order held an event to commemorate the historic landing's 300th anniversary. Taking pride in Columbus's birthplace and faith, Italian and Catholic communities in various parts of the country began organizing annual religious ceremonies and parades in his honor. In 1892, President Benjamin Harrison issued a proclamation encouraging Americans to mark the 400th anniversary of Columbus's voyage with patriotic festivities. In 1937, President Franklin D. Roosevelt proclaimed Columbus Day a national holiday, largely as a result of intense lobbying by the Knights of Columbus, an influential Catholic fraternal organization.
Okay, so the entire idea was that since they didn't know that the New World, which is currently North America and South America, they didn't know that it existed, so the idea was that they'd sail from the west coast of Europe around to India, because there were merchant ships and they had taxes and different harbors to go through all the way from Europe to India, so it was basically more cost efficient. Little did they know there were two very large continents sitting right in front of them.
Run into.
Exactly.
Okay, now there's a lot of controversy that surrounds the Columbus Day holiday. Have you heard about any of this controversy before?
Are you talking about like how he didn't supposedly actually find America, the Vikings?
Some people claim, why do we celebrate Columbus when he didn't actually discover the Americas? The Vikings did. But there's really three other points that are bigger issues for people when it comes to celebrating Columbus Day. Number one, he mistreated the Native Americans, which Sarah mentioned a little bit earlier. He did kill some Native Americans. He considered Native Americans to be an obstacle.
Oh, real quick, fun fact. That's why they're called Indians, because they thought they were in India, but they weren't. Just throwing that.
There you go. Now, second of all, he did also enslave some of the Indians and use them as servants. So there's a lot of people who have a real hard time celebrating Columbus because of that. However, you got to remember, everybody did things like all the explorers were pretty awful when it came to the treatment of Native Americans. So keeping that in mind, he wasn't the only one who mistreated Native Americans, although he did. The biggest thing that catches people about Columbus Day is what we call the Columbus Exchange, which most students haven't heard of and haven't talked about. Have you ever heard of the Columbus Exchange?
I've heard of it, but I don't remember what it was about.
Okay, so Columbus would take plants and animals and he would start exchanging them back and forth from east to west, which caused what?
Well, I know for one, originally horses weren't from the Americas. They came from Europe, so that's why we have horses in the Americas now. That's one thing.
Right. But what happens whenever you exchange plants and animals from one continent to the other? If you're not careful, what can happen?
Overpopulation for one, because just like for instance in Australia with the rabbits, it was like a perfect climate, and everybody knows that rabbits reproduce very quickly. They got overrun by rabbits pretty quick.
Yes. The biggest thing that happens with that, though, is the reason that when we transport goods from continent to continent today, we put them in what's called quarantine, which basically means we're holding them for a little while to make sure that there's no diseases that can spread. Columbus didn't do this. And while other explorers also would exchange goods that way, Columbus was pretty bad about it. And he got to the point where the settlers, actually, right here in the Americas, lobbied the Spanish courts, which most people don't realize, that the settlers in the Americas lobbied the Spanish courts against Columbus because at some point they just got fed up with it. The King of Spain, which most people don't realize, actually sent a royal administrator back over here to America to imprison Columbus. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I know. And his brothers. The administrator then locked Columbus up, put him on a ship, and sent him back to Spain. So the king had enough of Columbus. So basically, all of Columbus's evil ways when it came to the exchange ended up catching up with him. Karma caught up with him. So he was imprisoned, sent back to Spain. He did make a fourth expedition back over to the New World after all of that had happened. However, by that time, he had lost his prestige and he had lost his governorship. So he really didn't have the name at that for the fourth voyage that he had prior to that. All of that to say, that is why there is some controversy that surrounds the Columbus Day holiday and the fact that we celebrate Columbus Day. I don't really take a stance on it one way or the other. That's up to you to make up your mind whether or not, Columbus would be a hero in American history, which ultimately he's still considered a hero because
he was the first person to document the
absolutely.
Americas. So we got to give him some credit somewhere.
Right. There's lots of bad, but there was lots of good. So you got to keep all of that in mind. But there you go. We just wanted to talk a little bit about Columbus Day and the controversies that surround the Columbus Day holiday. Do with it what you will.
September the 15th through October the 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month, and Eagle Vision is featuring several segments that explore Hispanic culture. Today we look at the country of Chile.
Chile is a South American country. It borders Peru to the north, Bolivia to the northeast, Argentina to the east, and the Drake Passage in the far south. Chile also claims about 480,000 square miles of Antarctica, although all claims are suspended under the Antarctic Treaty. The arid desert in northern Chile contains great mineral wealth, principally copper and lithium. This relatively small central area dominates in terms of population and agricultural resources. Chile expanded in the late 19th century when it incorporated its northern and southern regions. Southern Chile is rich in forests and grazing lands and features a string of volcanoes and lakes. The southern coast is a labyrinth of forests, inlets, canals. Chile expanded in the late 19th century when it incorporated its northern and southern regions. Southern Chile is rich in forests and grazing lands and features a string of volcanoes and lakes. The modern state of Chile is among South America's most economically and socially stable and prosperous nations. It leads Latin American nations in rankings of human development, competitiveness, income per capita, globalization, state of peace, economic freedom, and low perception of corruption.
It's now time for today's announcements. Pay attention, we're moving fast. If you are a member of National Honor Society last year, stop by A9 to see Mr. Satcher if you haven't already.
The PSAT test will be given on Wednesday, October the 16th in room D10. Those who signed up will go to their normal first block before relocating. If you have any questions, see Ms. Tatum in D10.
If you were a beta member last year, you would not receive another invitation to join. You should stop by Miss George or Miss Jones' room to pay your renewed fee to maintain your membership.
Beta Club would like to challenge everyone to compete in the Home Run for Habitat 5K at Snowden Grove Park on October the 20th. You can register online at homerun5k.com. Be sure to register under DeSoto County High School 5K and select our school. Registration costs $25. See Miss George in F8 for more details. We want teachers and families to participate as well.
Knowledge Bulb meetings are on Fridays after school from 3 to 4. They will be held every week. All are welcome to join.
We have lots of video content you don't get to see here on the show. Head to hornlakehigh.com, click on the subscribe link, and you will have full access to our YouTube library. That's it for today's episode.
Here at Horn Lake, we are better students, always growing and expecting more.
Stay tuned for your lunch menus and athletic schedules. We'll see you here Tuesday. Have a fantastic weekend.
3-day weekend.
I feel hard. I'm all alone with the stars. When two worlds collide, I'm so lost. I'm all alone in the dark. Since you said goodbye, so where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Things are not the same. So where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? 'Cause everything has changed. Everything has changed. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Darker times, no one can help me get out. Since you walked away, I'm so blind, don't know where I can go now. Nowhere is safe. So where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Things are not the same. So where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? 'Cause everything has changed. Everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, oh, oh. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Everything has changed. everything has changed. Hold on, hold on, hold on, everything has changed.